What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. I am the Hobbyist, and today I'm going to be doing my full upgrade analysis of my Traxxas Tmaxx Classic. It's finally finished. No more modifications, nothing more needs to be done, it's done. And I'm super excited to show this to you guys. Now, a little thing that I need to point out up front, this idea for these upgrade analysis was not my original idea. All credits go to Kevin Talbot on YouTube. He does these videos, and I took inspiration from that. So I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. You can check out his channel, but that's where I got this idea. With that said, let's get right into the upgrade analysis. So this truck was originally a Traxxas Tmaxx Classic from 2009, and it originally had a white body, stock chevron tires, and some white shocks along with a wheelie bar when I bought it. But obviously it is not that anymore, and it has been highly modified with a ton of durability parts, quite a few performance parts, and some other little pieces that are just fun to have. So let's take the body off and let's get right into all of the upgrades. I would like to point out that this is a new body. As I previously mentioned, the original body was white, but now it's this nice blue, and then I did put in the Traxxas foam body washers. Anyway, looking at the truck itself, obviously it looks very clean. I did rebuild it. If you saw the last video that I did on this channel, I did do a rebuild of this, and you can see what the truck kind of looked like before I rebuilt it. But starting off with some of the basics, it has all new electronics. So the receiver in there is now a Spectrum SR415 4-channel receiver. I have a Duratrax failsafe along with 3 new servos. These two are Power HD. This one is a 25 kilogram and this one is a 20. And then I have a Rage RC 177 ounce-inch torque servo for the shifter. As for the battery, I am running a F. Carnegie 5-cell nickel metal battery. The next major modification that I did was I took off the stock 72-tooth spur gear and I put on a 66-tooth spur gear from a brushed Emax. And so this gears it down a little bit, or gears it up in a sense. And so we're going to get a little bit more speed out of it. And we're going to get a little less acceleration, but I'm not too worried about that because this is a bashing truck. And on a related note, I have a new GPM 11 foil aluminum engine head with the nice blue anodization. If you guys know the 2.5 engine from Traxxas, stock these things are like gray, but this has got the nice blue anodization, blue finish. I think it looks really nice. And to finish the engine off, I have the exhaust coupler kit. That also came with the little straw here. I do not store it on with the straw, but I will put that on when I'm bashing, but it's a pretty cool little kit. The old one of this was just falling apart, so I got this kit, and so it looks really nice, gives it a nice fresh look. Now we move on to all of the upgrades on the front and the rear, but we're going to focus on the front because it's easier to see. First thing we've got is the Traxxas aluminum shock caps with all of the new screws and hardware. I put the stock red springs back on, but then tightened them up a little bit just to give a little bit better suspension compression without losing too much of that, good jumping suspension. As for RPM parts, because obviously it's a Tmaxx, you have to have RPM on there as a must. I have the RPM front and rear A-arms. I also have these shock guards, which are just mud guards, so when you compress it kind of protects the shock shaft from debris. It's also rotatable, if you can see under there. It's got the different ball end as well as the lower A-arm going straight through that. As well as RPM, we have this RPM front and rear bulkheads. These are to strengthen the old ones, which on a Classic are very weak and notorious for breaking. Looking at the underside of the chassis, I have the RPM front, center, and rear skid plates, all brand new. I've read about these online a lot. This one especially to keep all the debris out of this area underneath here. If you don't have them, then all the debris gets back there. And then these are just to kind of complete the look and then also reinforce the stock skid plates here. If we look underneath, I also have a 25-tooth clamped servo horn that's aluminum, which goes into the steering links. I have eliminated the servo saver on the servo because that gave the truck terrible steering. I did not completely eliminate the servo save, however. I do have a hot racing aluminum steering system, which the servo saver, if you can see down there, is hiding right there. This is designed for a 3.3, but it fits just fine on a 2.5. On a related note down here, I've got the Traxxas boots that are supposed to just protect those ball joints there, just to keep the mud out of there. So that's just what's going on the underside of this entire truck, and it's going to hopefully keep a lot of mud and dirt out of it. As I said before, this thing came with a wheelie bar on its own. However, I did purchase the Traxxas aluminum ball-bearinged wheels with the rubber wheelie bar tires and put those on. These are very smooth and they look very nice. I love the blue aluminum. It kind of matches the rest of the truck. As for the big wheels, these are Traxxas Tmaxx 3.3 wheels. They are the 14mm hex ones. I didn't go with the Revo ones that are the 17mm. Because this is the 2.5, so it's not as much power going through it. But these are bigger diameter. They've got a different tread on them, and I think they look amazing. They've got a really aggressive looking tread on them, and I think that they look really cool with how this monster truck is set up. On a related note, if you can see in there, I've got the Traxxas blue aluminum pivot ball caps and the blue aluminum flanged wheel nuts all around, just to kind of complete the look. They weren't as necessary as you would think. The flanged wheel nuts were a must though, because I did have a lot of problems where my wheel nuts, especially on this tire, would just fly off, and then I would have my tire going in the opposite direction of my truck. One other small thing I did, just because it's one of those things for nitro that you really need, I added this Apex RC fuel filter, the blue aluminum one, and it works very well. It keeps all the debris out of the engine, and it is actually a must for nitro. It is quite hard to notice, but I did also add the Traxxas upgraded on-off switch, which includes the bullet plug, as you can see right there, so I don't have to unplug the battery and open up this entire battery box in order to charge my battery. I can just go into that plug and pretty much take care of everything. The second to last thing that I added, and this one I'm super excited for, this is the GPM titanium finned disc brake. Now this is a major upgrade from the fiberglass one that comes stock. This has got fins on it with friction metal. It's got a titanium backplate. This will take a lot more heat, and it'll also allow for higher braking at higher speeds. The final thing I added was this small little piece right here. It's $3 from Traxxas, and it is their Trx Tie Bar. Now what this does is it basically links these two rear links together, and this is a must because one of the major flaws with these Tmaxx trucks is that if you take a hit on one of these back tires, the stress has nowhere to go, especially if you hit it on the side. So what you do is you link up the two back links together so that if the stress is applied to, say, this wheel back here, the stress will kind of transfer and kind of balance out to the other side, and there's a lot less chance of anything breaking. I would also like to point out that I did move the top shock mounts out one because since I went to the softer springs, I wanted to have a little bit more of a, say, stiffer suspension. So I got that with these, and then also with the RPM arms, they come with one less adjustment point than the stock arms, and so you're already getting a bit more tightness there. So overall, it just kind of gives the truck a little bit more of a stiff suspension. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment in the section below for what videos you'd like me to do next. Once the winter thaws out and we get to springtime, I will take this thing out and we'll get some running footage with this fully upgraded Traxxas Tmaxx Classic. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.